Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Part 3. Part 2 was a bit of a disaster, wasn't it? No audio. I started it literally straight after part 1 and it decided to default the microphone back to my headset, which I don't even use. So we had nothing. So I'm sorry about that. But we're back on this one. So we're just gonna carry on doing what we was doing basically. See what we can get going on this hole. As I say, it's totally unscripted, so I haven't got anything in mind or ideas, but we're going to try and make it as interesting as we can. I think we're going to do a bit of rock work today, maybe. I'm just looking at what I can do along here, really, to try and spice it up a little bit, because it's a little bit flat at the moment. So I'm just going to do a little bit of sort of minor sculpted in certain areas, and I would probably have liked to have made the fairway a bit wider, really. So I'm still may get rid of these two bunkers and put some different shapes in. They're a little bit boring, those ones, I think. They were just markers for making sure the range was right, that I put them in the right area and stuff for the drives. I think they're pretty cool for the distance, so we'll leave it at that. As I say, when you work like this, you haven't really got anything in mind. You just build it up as you go and just see where it takes you. See what you can come up with, interesting sort of things you can put into it. So we're going to try and extend that bit of fairway around through there. Just because I've put that extra little bit of camber on now, coming from right to left, I just want to add a little bit more sort of opportunity for the player to keep it on the fairway. I don't want to punish them hugely. I think there's enough there for any really wayward drives that you're going to get into enough trouble. But it just gives me, I mean, you land in here, you should still be fine. You get landing up here, you should roll up into this area. If you land in here, you could get kicked right into the heavy rough there, so that's working fine. I'm just not sure. I've got an idea for sort of some of the later holes, but I'm not sure about my bunkers. So we're going to do it a different way on a couple of these bunkers. I mean, I still don't know whether to draw them or not. Haven't decided. But there is all sorts of ways to do bunkering, so we can see if we can come up with anything a little bit more interesting. I don't want to go, so because I'm doing it like this, I have to then find each individual bunker and adjust the settings for that particular bunker, so it can get a bit annoying brushing, whereas if I just spline them, I've only got to do one setting. I'll show you what I mean. I think you've already sort of gathered it, I'm sure, but if I spline some more interesting shapes in, trying to get something a bit more unique looking going. Don't overly like that one, to be honest. I'm not a huge fan of splining all sorts of different shape bunkers. This is a point where you can start pulling in all the spline, all the sort of points and the handles to try and get them a bit more interesting, putting little bits in, and you can get some cool shapes going. But as I've said before in this game, if we had a pencil line instead of, if we could just use the purple line to draw bunkers, we could do so much more accurate stuff. But with these great big, I mean, I've got it on 1.9, I think. Yeah, that's as thin as I can get my spline, and I don't understand why we can't pencil them in. We could do nice little zigzaggy sort of edges and but you can't do that with the splines, so it's a bit of a shame. That something the game needs in the designer. But it's quite late here at night, so if I'm talking a bit quieter today, hopefully it's still coming out. I brought the microphone a lot closer, so I can't be really loud, but I want to get some work done. I want to get some stuff done. So 23, we're going to have to set all those bunker depths to the same. There should be 3 bunkers I put down. That's the same one. So that's those 3 done. 23. Now that should be pretty uniform. Again, that's going to be quite harsh, so we need to do the second part, don't we, which was the, let's get to the bunker, which would be the steepness, which was on 0, wasn't it? I've got to do it for every single one of those 3. We'll just do that quickly. There should be one more, that one. So that should get us to that. Still not 100% happy, but if I do change, see, if I go to take these back out, I'm going to have to, if I want to draw a bunker in, it means I have to remove this heavy rough out the way, because that will supersede anything I do, so that's got to come right out the way. And I need to get it back a lot further than that, sort of up to the fairway's edge. But that last one, that'll get us enough. And then I've got really only the A of an eye to work with. That's about the only one I can get a sand, which will then affect the rest of the course when I change it. So if I change that to sand, obviously we're going to get that going on. I need to find a neutral one that will work, but I don't think any of them will. That one's not too bad. It just means I've lost that dark brown colour, but so if I take out that one there, that should get rid of that big white bit going through there. Subsort A. I'm going to select all of those and delete them. So that's got that back. So now I can draw in a bunker using subsort A. What sort of shape should we do? We can go around something a bit more interesting, maybe like that. It's not very nice sand for a bunker. But then you've obviously got to go to the point where you're going to start literally sculpting it yourself. So we can drop it down. 6 foot's quite extreme, so we'll drop it down 4 foot. We'll go to that point there and raise that bit up. A bit too high. Let's get that middle bit down a bit. Bit up here. And then you got to try and get the outside of it all to be heavy rough for it to kind of work. So you want to come a little bit away from the edge of the sand, not too close to it. Put that in. And I need a bit across there. So I don't really like the actual sand texture. That's the problem. Doesn't look great. Just comparing it to the old bunkers, to what was there originally. The only way I can change that is to change the actual sand texture. See if we can get anything nicer. Looks a bit more realistic. It's not too bad. Try that one. That was the wavy one. Don't want that one. Don't want white. It might work there. Sand colour back there. It's not too bad. It's quite an interesting texture in there. Bear that one in mind. Too rough. Too bumpy. Don't want your ball landing in there. Too dirt looking. Same. That's not a bad one. But in that scenario, if you get down low, you can see how rough that edge looks there. So the only way to get around that is to add a bit more heavy rough. We're on 2.7 now. So again, that path width was way too wide, in my opinion. If I could pencil line in some heavy rough there, it'd look so much nicer. But we can't, so we'll carry on. I'm going to try and just define the edges a little bit now. So I'm going to try, see if we can just get a bit of a lip, bit more of a lip going to our bunker. Just find that happy spot. I don't want to raise it too high, especially through there. Let's come over here. Not too bad, but this bit is way too dirt looking. There's not enough sand there. I don't think I can add any more. Oh, not that one. Try and double hit a brush to see if it goes over. Right, that's fine. So that's that a bit better. See if we can raise that up a little bit. So really, if I raise that, there's like a double bit here, which I'm just going to try and flatten out with the raise. Bring it forward a bit. So whether we prefer it to the original. Another thing I found that you can do with these sort of painted bunkers is try and get a little bit of the dirt to just sit on the edge, just to try and highlight a faux kind of lip. We'll just try that for a minute, see if we can get a bit of it there. A bit along the top. Ooh. Dirt. Just try and make it look like a bit of shading, like there's a bit of depth there, you know. That's what we're looking at there. And I would just lower this bit here now, just that front edge. Try and bring that down a wee bit, like so. And it's just looking at little areas that you can sort of work with now. So in there, I don't know if this is the right shape at the moment, and if whether I would just use a raise instead of a flat. I just want to bring that up with level a bit more, and try to keep that going all the way around. adjusting the heights. I just prefer them to the actual standard bunkers. It's debatable whether you think it looks better or not, but I can only go on what I like to look at, so I actually prefer them, doing them that way. I'm just looking for that surface weathering spline. It's in there somewhere. Looks way too sharp from above. That one, I'm going to see if I smoothing it out, if I can get a nicer, smoother line going through there. Not too bad. So then it's just a case of doing that with every bunker now. Deleting those splines. I can do another one there and another one there. Again, I've got to move that heavy rough out of the way. We know what we're doing there, so that's not a problem. Let's have a look at our tee shot. It's all going to have to be done. Takes a little bit longer, obviously, to do those bunkers, but I think I'm going to remove that clubhouse as well. I've got another spline of sand there that I need to take out along the left side of the green there. That needs to come out. We can add that in as a light bit of sand, but we're going to have to take the intensity down, so we'll keep it. If we'll just take the intensity and see what it looks like. It should be that one. Drop it down to about 40. It will add another texture. We've lost the brown texture that we had before, but it will add something else to it if we need it. I'm going to change the path width there. Just bring it out a bit more and see what it does. It just looks too white to me. Try the intensity again. Find it there. Subsort A. There it was. Drop it off a bit. It's not really doing a hell of a lot, to be honest. This is why like I say, I always design the first hole so I can work out everything on this hole, what I'm going to be doing. I know that I'm going to be using these bunkers now, so we'll do this one on the left here, because I also don't like the way this heavy rough joins in with this. I know that that's got to come down a bit, but there's still another one there. That's one. That's the same one. That's the different one. So by removing that, I can sort of blend it in a bit more, hopefully. Just got to find that heavy rough. There's one. Where's the other one? There. So again, we'll just take it back to the fairway. Get it right out of the way. Yeah, I was gutted about that second episode, but I thought I had to publish it and put it on there, because otherwise it ruins the whole continuity of the blooming idea of the setting up the first hole. Otherwise I'd have done another hour's work and no one would have seen it. At least you got a reference to what I did in that hour, even if it weren't me talking crap over the top of it. Delete spline. So I need to get rid of this bit of heavy rough here, unless that's not heavy rough, it's just auto gen heavy rough. Let's terrain paint a bunker in. What shape did we do there? That sort of heart teardrop shape. So our spline width needs to come down. Got quite a big bit of area there to work with. Whatever shape I do, I can get away with it when I actually draw the heavy rough. Now I can draw a shape of a bunker using heavy rough if I'm not happy with any shapes I do get. So I can bring one in quite sharp there, bring it round. Don't want to join it up. If you do, you just have to open the spline. But that should do for a minute. So that's how much it bleeds out. So we need to open that up hugely to get our bunker back and a bit more. Try there. So I can see where we need to go now. Through that and through that and there. Hopefully I'll minimise it now. Now I can drop it down with the raise. Get that sort of thing going on. Again, we've got to raise up that little point there to make it work. Get as close as we can to the edge. And then we can drop it in again there. Just keep an eye on we're not getting too low. If we do, we can just bring the whole thing back up again. So looking at that, I just need this bit here needs to be heavy roughed. Oh, let's go this way. Just get that in as close as we can. And then we're going to be looking at doing similar sort of thing as what we did with the other one, not with the flatten, with the raise on that sharper sort of, it was that shape when it was using. Try and just bring that up. Just need a little bit more heavy rough there by the looks of it. Just need to run a bit across this top of this ridge here. Ooh. Let's try that. And then in theory, save me drawing another bit, I'm just going to lower this bit here, just sink it down a bit, sort of to there. And we'll try the dirt around the outside to give it a little bit more definition. And then the only other thing we've got at our disposal is a bit of surface weathering around it. Just that bit there I'm going to take up a bit higher. That's fine. So, a bit of surface weathering. If we're going to come down and take our shot out of that bunker, we would be coming down here and in there, sort of thing. So we'll take that to there. And then this bit here, I'm just going to try and blend in with a bit of surface weathering, but not as bold as that. So we'll just come round through here. Drop a bit in there and take that off. That's about 40 odd. Gets us a bit of shape there. Yeah, so I think that's how we're going to do all the bunkers. I've just gone off normal bunkers at the moment. But I'll do that one at another point. It's all going to have to be done live, otherwise we're not going to be. You can see how we do it now at least, so. That's fine. I think we'll put a little bit around the back of this one. So you You can see we're going to be coming off from there into the fairway, but we'll do a tiny bit here and make it a bit lighter. Oh, wrong one. Oh, dear. Not 100% sure about this little bit here at the moment. Might need a bit of flattening out with something like this. Starting to take shape a little bit more, the whole hole. A little lot of rock work there. And a lot of rock work here. Should we do a bit of rock work? Save it quick. Drop it into there. Just checking I had the right mic done there. So the only thing we haven't really got is quite a... So whether we make like a sandy bottom to that there, or we just keep it all sort of rock. And if we keep it all rock, I would like to add a quick sliver of bedrock along the line of that. Try and get it going quick. Now I'm going to have to just change the width for that because I didn't quite hit some of the points I wanted to. And then move the whole spline in a bit. That's fine. So coming down through here, I think we're going to have to start with some rock work now. Again, there's not many rocks I like using, to be honest. There's only a few I find do the job that I'm going to do. It's going to be this one. It's the only one that really tapers down nicely into a point that you can sort of manipulate and work with. Just by keep doing that. But I would have liked a few more different shapes of rock with this sort of characteristic to it. It's just making them not look the same. We can do it. Once you've got that sort of ridge, that spine there, I need to start breaking that up a little bit because I don't want that to become one spine that goes all the way up. We'll have to try something different to sit in there in a minute. Otherwise we'll end up just repeating the same thing. So for a moment that'll do that because we've also got this one, which we can use to cover a lot of this area here. And that's the one that I like to use around the water's edge. That really breaks it up. Especially if you can get it quite large and low down. I don't think none of the players are ever going to be down here, so we can afford to go quite big here. It's going to look fine from a distance, but I just want to manipulate the edge of it, give it a bit of texture. As we're getting closer to the bunker, I'm just going to start shrinking it down now. There's a chance we could get down there. That's added something through there. I need to take the sort of the rock work up to sort of this area and leave this bit for a bit of vegetation like grass that we can get in there. So I don't think I can do much more with that one. I've got a bit of something that I can do with that. It's a case of where can I get it in. Looking back that way, it's going to look a bit odd. Let's try it this way around. It's not really working. The way it'd work is if I went any bigger. I mean, that'll probably work over here. Let's get it sort of join onto that bit. It's going to need to be twisted and turned. Dropped in quite a lot, so we don't get repeating patterns. I'll try and get that to there. So it covers that bit. I definitely need something that's going to sit up a little bit higher here. It could maybe even work with some trees. I've got this one as well, but this one's a hard one. It's one of my favourites, but you have to manipulate it quite a lot to get it so it doesn't repeat. It's a hell of a repeating rock. Again, I would love another shape like this. The texture of this rock's really nice, but it's hard to get it to not look repetitive. So, in and amongst this, I think we're going to need some vegetation to break it all up a little bit and give it a bit of character. Now we need to start looking at what sort of bushes we want to use. I definitely, reset filters. I definitely want to use some dark ones, I think, on this course. Things like that. And that's just going to sit in between our little bits of rock. Give it the character we want. And we need to double that up with something a bit lighter and a bit of grass. So looking back that way, that's okay for a minute. A bit in there that's quite high. We're just hiding all the edges of anything we might have repeated, or just trying to sink it in between little gaps in the rocks and seeing how far we can take it down. Should be okay there. Don't want to go too much closer to the edge. That one. Now we'll look for something with slightly different colour. Something a bit light. I don't want to use that one. I've used that one loads. Looks a bit cool. That's quite a nice light colour. We'll try a bit of grass in a minute. I don't want to use that too much, that bush. Just get it going through here. I don't think I've finished the rock work yet, but just want to see what I can do with it. If I can get this area looking cool, then it's just a case of doing it all the way around. Different shapes and stuff. So we'll try some grass. We want a different grass this time. Something we don't normally use. So I did. There was one I used the other day. Not that one. Not that one. I was using this the other day on Fairhaven Bay, but I didn't use that much of it. So it's not as nice as the sort of gorsey type of grass that you can use, but it's quite nice for breaking up edges. It's got the little white sort of buds on it. It's quite a nice texture. It's a nice lighter green to that darker bush, so that's cool. It kind of works. Just bring it all the way around, just to finish that border off with that rock. I'll do it for a minute. Again, we've got to put quite a bit down here, so we'll just twist that around a sec. These are just borders, so I can just twist a few in, add it a bit higher, get that in there. That should look pretty broken up and not all the same. It's cool. For a minute, we'll just do it around this side. Drop it down a bit, twist it a bit. Just get something going through that. It's not going to cost us a lot. So we definitely need something coming down through here. Probably a bit of bush, trees. I tend to try and do it sort of from the tee outwards, but because I'm trying to work out, I'm talking about my planting, sorry, that is, because I'm trying to work out what I want to see from the tee. I just need to get a bit of this in at the moment. So when I come back to my tee shot, I want to see how much I'm actually going to see of all this stuff I'm putting in, how worth it is putting more detail in. So I could put another bunker in this sort of area here, this little depression. And we've got that bunker there. I think that's enough bunkers for the hole. We could make that taper up. Quite like that flat at the back. It doesn't have to run off all the time. Try that for a minute. We'll just draw the two bunkers in so I know where I want to put them, but then I'll sculpt them a bit later or at another point. So our little depression's about here, isn't it? So let's get one in sort of that area. I'll have one there and one over here. Like that. And then we've just got to drag that bit of heavy rough out of the way a little bit. If I can find the spline for it. There it is. Just drag that through. And I'll do it for a minute. I can't resist just dropping that one down quickly. That's where it's going to be. How deep do I want to make it? Change the angle, that looks quite cool. And do for a minute. Okay. Let's check out our tee shot. Just want to check what time I'm on. 39. So we've been working on this hole for 2.5 hours now. It's taken us quite a while to find out how we're going to, what we're going to use in terms of textures and rock work and stuff like that. So that's been a bit, obviously a lot longer than we would normally take. Yeah, I'm definitely going to remove that clubhouse. straight through the back there. Looks awful, doesn't it? Yeah. So that bit looks okay. This bit through looks pathetic, so we need to just deal with that quickly while I can see it. I'm going to flatten a little bit at first, just so everything tapers down a bit neater through there. Looks a bit nicer. Okay, that's that, that's that. I think our actual fairway here is too high as well. I'm going to lower the whole thing. So I did notice once you get to that second shot, you can't see much of that rock work really, or the approach. So I've got to carry that rock work all around here, I think, up to this bunker, just up to that heavy rough line there. Just leave that bunker just tucked in behind, a bit of rock work there. So let's get that in. Let's find the point where it joins quite nicely about that. And we'll just have to keep trying to bend it and get it in. What I might do is I might raise that bunker up behind this rock work a bit higher, so I can see it, see what that looks like. I don't want to taper that too close to there. I think we'll just, yeah, that should work. We'll try and maybe get one more coming this way, like that, and then we'll fill that in with bush and grass. I think that would do for that for a minute. So what I'm thinking of is raising this one up a bit. I do apologise if I'm talking quietly today. Everyone's in bed. I don't know how much time I'm going to get to do it tomorrow, and I just wanted to do a bit of designing tonight. I was in the mood. Remember, I have got to draw the heavy rough in, so just looking at what shape I can get it, whether it's too extreme or not. What does it look like from here? I can see it, but it's a bit extreme, so I just need to flatten that little bit off there. Bring it down, widen it up. That's okay. So I can just bring up the whole green now a little bit. I'll use this shape. We've got to be careful of, is when you do this, is you are going to start running off to the sides. So you need to make sure you make it big enough. That's 2 foot. That's the next 4 foot on. So we've got a lot more runoff, so I just need to resculpt the green a bit now. So we use the same shape, but we'll sort of flatten. Sort of there. Just try and get rid of that a little bit. And I do think we can raise the centre part of this one up a tad. Like that. And drop the middle down. And just put a bit of heavy rough in, and then I've got my defining line where I can do the plant in there. We're on to 1.9 I want. I can get that all in to like there. That should get me that. A bit of surface weathering and a little bit of fairway taken back a bit. I don't quite want it coming over the edge of that little hill there like it was. I'll do it for a minute, and then we will go surface weathering, wasn't it? So if we want to enter our bunker, we'll be coming down here again and going into that. And then we do another little bit that's a lighter colour, or a darker colour even, which would be this whole lip along here, up to there, up to there. And we'll just take that down to 40, 50, 40. Try that for a minute. And then we'll get our dark line in. So I mean, so once you've worked out how you're going to do them, you've just got the same process for each one, haven't you? Oh, missed a bit there. So really, drag that one down a bit further. Get it into there, and I need to put a brush in there to get that back white again, because that's too dark. That should do it. That'll do it. That's cool, and I just want to flatten that funny little bump there out a little bit. Oh. Just get that a bit flatter through there. That's fine. So now I can see where I'm running my grass now. So if I go to grass, we'll start from this point here. I haven't worked out this bit yet, but we'll get our grass in through here for a minute. Just scatter it about. Doesn't have to be too neat. Definitely want to take it up to about there and round the back there. We'll take it up to say there for now. Again, we're going to add a bit of surface weathering on this grass as well. So we'll just change that slightly and just fill that in a little bit thicker through there and along the edge here. I'll do it for a sec. And we'll just get a bit of the, what was the lighter one? Those two bushes I was using. We know what ones they are. The dark and light. Let's go for a dark first in here. One in here. And we'll try and get that one out. I'm going to put a bit actually over some of that rock there. It's fine. And we just need to fill in this area here now. Use a couple of different coloured bushes. Get that in. There's a bit of a repetitive pattern with that grass there, so we'll just cover that for a sec. Get another one of these in. And I think I'm going to use grass for the rest of that bit there. And then I'll add a bit of surface weathering over all that grass. Nature grass. That one. So again, it's going to be quite far from the player, so we can afford to make it a bit bigger. Get that in. That'll finish that off. So now we'll add a little bit of surface weathering in there to break all that up. We use this shape because it's more random, less uniform. Bit there, a bit over it. Do for a minute. Might even just squeeze a little bit on the edge here. That's fine. So back here, just work out what we can do with that in a minute. Save again. get rid of that clubhouse because I think I'm gonna. Not too worried if I can see the clubhouse off the first tee on this one. We can do something with it. I still would like some trees in some places. And we'll just try adding a bit of the natural grass back in again just to see what that gives us. Will be a case of deleting it in certain places. It'll fill in little gaps here and there, it's not a problem. We'll just get rid of all the ones I don't want with one big spline. I don't want those ones either. Keep those ones. Anything that's touching my fairway I don't want. All the way along. There's more back here I missed. That should get rid of all that now. But that's fine. So, is there any trees we can use for... How long have I got left? 8 minutes. Save. Hope the audio's not coming out too quietly. I have moved the mic right up. I am talking quite softly. Just curious to see what sort of trees we can add in on this course. Whether we go for something really different like birches and things like that. They are some of my favourite trees, but I tend to use them in small cluster, more to define a hole or something, around a tee box rather. Not really as big trees. So we got that option, we got lots of birches we can use. Not sure yet, too big. Obviously my sun's coming from that way, so nothing at the back here, it's all got to be on this front edge. Through here or through here. We'll cover that bunker a second, but that's not a problem. Pines. Spruces. We did that on Fairhaven Bay though, didn't we? We did lots of pines and spruces. It'd be nice to do something different. Use a tree that we don't normally use. Nothing that's really sticking out. We'll see what it looks like once we've got a cluster on there. See if it adds anything interesting. Got that new pine. These ones. Again, I did use those quite a lot on Fairhaven Bay. I'm more interested in the pines that are quite long trunked. There's a couple of nice cedars that I like that as well. Go back. Cedars. Something through that, and there's one more cedar I really like, which will be, it's not that, quite like that one, but it's not that one. Where are you? find it now. No, I can't seem to find the one I really like. Shows how much I like it. No, so the only thing that really leaves us. Is there any interest? Cypresses are quite cool, but I don't think they're the right theme for this. They're quite green. Some of these darker ones look okay, but again, I don't think they're the right trees for this course. So, options would leave us like something with a little bit of character that sort of sits out at an angle, which is going to have to be a pine, really. Fir. I used larches on Fairhaven Bay. Used oaks. Ooh. Too much. No trees really that I'm feeling at the moment. There's a couple of ashes that might work, but it's too green, I think. Darker colours really. I just think it needs something up here. Just try and get some bushes in around there. If I can just finish off this front left bit in the next few minutes, I'll be happy for today. I'll do another one tomorrow. Let's go back to place. Just fill in all these little gaps quick. Break it up with different ones. Do for a sec. And then we've got that one, which I want to try there. And just drop one on the back there for a sec. So now I'm just going to fill that in with grass. And then we'll use a bit of the surface weathering to break it up. Should hit a bit of the other bit that I'd already laid down, so should start to get some different patterns going. We'll change the size and twist it because we're getting a bit closer to the green. Just drop it in there for a minute, thicken that out, twist it again. Overall we've only used 1% so far in our object meter, so we're looking absolutely fine for that. We will probably need a third bush colour at some point, but for the purpose of this we can add that at any point. So we've got a bit going through there now, then we'll just add that surface weathering. We've got 30 seconds left, so thanks for watching. We're getting somewhere, making progress. We're building it up slowly. Thanks for watching. I will be back tomorrow with another part to this, as we've got work to do. We'll have a quick look. We can save. You'll see the last shot before I go will just be the tee shot view at the moment. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.